Shalom Aleichem everyone, hope everyone had a wonderful week. We're still separate, B'nai Chutz La'aretz and B'nai Eretz Yisrael still on the wrong parashas, so I'll try and say something that's shaveh l'chol nefesh that everyone can partake of. This week, on Thursday, we celebrate Lag BaOmer. And Lag BaOmer represents a lot of different ideas, a lot of different things that come together. Number one is the life of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, which in Eretz Yisrael, again, is very much celebrated with nigunim, with bonfires, and a real celebration. And what did Rav Shimon Bar Yochai bring to us? What did he bring to the table? So number one, he brought to us Torah, fundamentally Torah, but there's two aspects to Torah. There's on the one hand, there is the Torah's Hanistar, the Zohar, which was brought to the world by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, but the Gemara also describes to us in Maseches Brachos and Daf Lamed Hey Beis a certain tremendous commitment, not just to Torah's Hanistar, to the Zohar, to the hidden area of Torah, but to a sense of Kabbalah SaTorah Behasmada Rabbah, an intensity in real learning Torah. And that's the Gemara that tells us, how do we deal with this pasuk of Asafta Deganecha? We're supposed to go to work. So the Gemara has a few possibilities, but one is brought by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. How is it supposed to be that a person's going to be choresh b'shas charisha, zoreh b'shas zriya, kotz b'shas tzira, v'dash b'shas disha? He's going to do all the labor of planting and sowing and harvesting, etc. Torah, matahel, what's going to be with Torah? El bizman shisol osin ritzon shel makom. So when the Jewish people are fulfilling the will of God, then their parnasa is going to be taken care of by others. And bisman she'ein ritzon osin ritzon shel makom, then they will have to take care of their own parnasa. The Gemara Maseches Brachos Shabbos Daf Tes also describes Rav Shimon Bar Yochai as the persona of Toraso U'Menaso, that his whole being was Talmud Torah, and therefore on Lag BaOmer we have a celebration of the Torah of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, whether it's the Torah's Hanistar, the Torah's Haniglet, his Yortzeit, and the bonfires represent that Ner Neshama, that Yortzeit candle of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. But there is another Gemara that tells us, according to Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, I believe it's in Maseches Menachos, that how much does a person have to learn every single day? So minimally speaking, he can be Yotzei with Kriyat Shema Shachris and with Kriyat Shema Arvis, and that can be the totality of his day's learning. And many Mefarshim are bothered, how does that jive with Rav Shimon Bar Yochai over here in Maseches Brachos that tells us that a person's totality of his life has to be learning? V'asafta devanecha, you're going to go ahead and work. Torah, mateoleh, seems to be inconsistent. And perhaps another famous Lag BaOmer Gemara, another Rav Shimon Bar Yochai Gemara, the Gemara Maseches Shabbos, I believe it's on Daf Lamed Gimel, no coincidence, tells us the very famous story of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and his son when they were escaping the Romans who made a decree not to learn Torah. So they found themselves hidden away. They would hide in a cave. They bury themselves in the earth of the cave so that they don't have to worry about their clothing being worn out. They feed themselves off of a carob tree that grows in the cave, and they spend the next year osek in Torah, learning Torah, hiding away from the Romans. Word gets to them that the decree, the ban on learning Torah is lifted, and Rav Shimon Bar Yochai emerges with his son from the cave. And what does he see? He sees Jewish people that are working the field, that are engaged in parnasa type activities. And his initial reaction is literally fire. He gazes at these fields and they go up in flame. How could people be wasting their time with such trivialities as parnasa, as work? How can that possibly be? And a baskol comes down from heaven and says, get back into the cave. If you come out with that kind of approach, my entire world will be destroyed. They go back into the cave. They continue learning and then reemerge sometime later. And once again, they see people working the fields, doing avodas hakarka v'asafta devanecha. But this time, they also see a gentleman holding hadassim, holding myrtle branches, which is with a very pleasant fragrance. And Rav Shimon Bar Yochai asks this gentleman, what are you doing with these branches? He answers, I have two branches, one is for Zachor, one is for Shamor. They are there to enhance my home, create fragrances of beauty in my home to enhance the Shabbos atmosphere of my home. And all of a sudden, there's a shift in Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. No longer is he burning down fields. Something changes. What is the pshat? So first of all, just as an aside, some Mefarshim say that the two Gemaras, one which says Rav Shimon Bar Yochai argued all you need is Kriyat Shema, the other he says you have to learn all day long Torah Matei Aleha, Kan Kodem Sheyatza Meha Cave, Meha Ma'ara, and Kan La'achar. In other words, after he learned this lesson already, he somewhat moderated Kriyat Shema Shachos, Kriyat Shema Arvis. What exactly is the idea? So perhaps one could suggest as follows. Yes, indeed, the totality of Rosh Shimon Bar Yochai's existence was Torah. Toraso uminaso. And he understood that that is the key, the absolute key to Jewish survival, even against the persecution of the Romans, and certainly in other times the key is a commitment to Torah. And when he saw people working the fields, tilling the soil, this is not the avoda now. We have to be focused on serious Torah study. And then he went back into the cave and reemerged, and he saw this gentleman with the hadassim, one for Zachor and one for Shamor. And then he understood, yes, indeed, the totality of our existence is Torah. But perhaps one can take a little bit of a broader worldview, a worldview where my day opens up with Kriyat Shema Shel Shachris, it opens up with Kabbalas Ol Malchus Shamayim, Kabbalas Ol Mitzvos, a commitment to Torah's Hashem. My day closes with Kriyat Shema Shel Arvis, a day of Kabbalas Ol Malchus Shamayim, a commitment to Kabbalas Ol Mitzvos, a commitment to Yiras Shamayim and Torah's Hashem. Those are my bookends, and they inform everything that happens on the inside, in between those bookends. So yes, indeed, Torah is the Alpha and the Omega. If Torah doesn't mean everything, it means nothing. But that doesn't mean we can't go out to work. It doesn't mean we can't till the fields and work the soil. Because after all, when we do so, we're not doing so just for our own affluence. We're doing so in order to bring home those myrtle branches, those hadassim, which are going to endow our Shabbos Kodesh. It's going to endow every aspect of my existence. In other words, perhaps, again, philosophically a shift, and understanding that everything is mitzvos and Torah, and that's what our totality is all about. But at the same time, to understand that we can go get parnasa, do all the things that we do in this world, but with a vision to channel that in our avodas Hashem. So on the one hand, Torah Matei Aleha was the, if you will, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai in the early years. Torah so naso, absolutely. We need Torah for our survival. And then perhaps, again, for most of us, a sense of, yes, Torah is our totality, but it can be coupled and partnered with the things like Vasafta Devanecha, because all of that is being geared to be mechanech our children, to go ahead and enable us to give tzedakah, to do chesed, to have nice food, fragrances, a home, to raise our children Shabbos Kodesh, and all of that. And that perhaps is the vision that emerges after they come out of the cave, and perhaps that's the lesson of that Gemara Masechah Shabbos, is that it all, at the end of the day, is about Zachor v'Shamor, is about Torah Matei Aleha, ensuring that with all of the multi things that we do, we all gear them towards Avodas Hashem, Yirat Shamayim, and Hashem Yisbarach.